Have you ever wondered what it would be like if humans could breathe underwater? Imagine a world where we could swim alongside dolphins, explore coral reefs without scuba gear, or even live beneath the waves. It's a fascinating concept that has captured our collective imagination from ancient myths and legends to modern science fiction and fantasy. In this video, we're going to explore this intriguing possibility. What would life be like if humans had evolved the ability to breathe underwater? We'll delve into the potential evolutionary, physiological, and ecological implications of such a development. Would we develop gills like fish or a blubber layer for insulation like whales? How would our bodies adapt to pressures at extreme depths? And what impact would an underwater human population have on marine ecosystems? These are just a few of the questions we'll be answering as we journey into the depths of this captivating thought experiment. So, without further ado, let's dive into the depths of this fascinating thought experiment. Imagine if evolution took a different turn and we developed gills along with our lungs. What a thought, right? This would mean that humans, like marine mammals, could breathe underwater, but how would this evolutionary leap happen? To answer this, we need to take a step back and look at the broader picture of evolution. Evolution is a slow, gradual process, driven by natural selection. Organisms with traits that enhance their survival and reproduction are more likely to pass these traits to their offspring. So for humans to evolve the ability to breathe underwater, there would have to be a significant survival advantage to this trait. Now let's compare this with marine mammals. Did you know that whales and dolphins, our aquatic counterparts, didn't always call the ocean their home? Yes, they descended from terrestrial mammals that gradually adapted to life in water. They developed lungs for air breathing, but they also retained some of their ancestors' traits, like the ability to hold their breath for long periods. So if humans were to develop the ability to breathe underwater, we'd need more than just gills. We'd need to undergo significant changes in our anatomy and physiology. For instance, our lungs would need to evolve to withstand the pressure of deep water. We'd need to develop a mechanism to extract oxygen from water, perhaps like fish gills or the specialized lungs of marine mammals. Our circulatory system would also need an upgrade. It would have to efficiently transport oxygen from our gills to our cells, even in cold water where metabolism slows. And let's not forget temperature regulation. Humans are warm-blooded, meaning our bodies need to maintain a constant temperature, but water conducts heat away from the body 25 times faster than air, so we would need some form of insulation like the blubber in whales. These are just a few of the many changes that would need to happen for humans to breathe underwater. It's a fascinating thought experiment that highlights just how complex and intertwined the processes of evolution and adaptation are. Evolution would certainly have had to take a different path, wouldn't it? Now, let's consider how our bodies would have to adapt to life beneath the waves. Imagine for a moment that you're taking a leisurely swim in the ocean. Suddenly, you decide to take a deep dive, but instead of holding your breath and feeling the pressure build in your ears, you just breathe. You're breathing underwater. Fascinating, isn't it? But to breathe underwater, humans would need something akin to gills, the respiratory organs that fish use to extract oxygen from water. These gills would have to be quite large, given that water contains far less oxygen than air. The human body would need to evolve drastically, growing gills and restructuring the respiratory system to accommodate this new way of breathing. But it's not just about breathing. The deeper you go, the greater the water pressure. To withstand this pressure, our bodies would have to be more robust, possibly leading to a denser bone structure and stronger muscles. We'd also need to adapt to the cold temperatures of the deep sea. We might develop a layer of blubber like whales, or perhaps a sleek layer of fur like otters. Then there's the issue of visibility. Underwater, our current eyesight would be blurry at best. To see clearly, we'd need eyes like those of a squid or a catfish, with a more spherical lens and a larger pupil to let in as much light as possible. These adaptations could open up a whole new world of exploration, from discovering long-lost shipwrecks to interacting with marine life on their turf. But there would also be drawbacks. Our bodies would be unrecognizable, and life as we know it would change drastically. We might have to give up certain comforts of land living, like fire and electricity, and we'd be at the mercy of ocean currents and predators. So living underwater might not be as easy as it sounds, but isn't it fun to imagine? What a strange and fascinating world it would be if we could breathe underwater like our fishy friends. But what would our presence mean for the marine ecosystem? Imagine if we could breathe underwater, we wouldn't just be visitors, we would be residents. But every new resident affects the neighborhood in some way, and we would be no different. First, let's consider marine life. Our underwater activities could disrupt the daily routines of marine animals, leading to stress and behavioral changes. We might inadvertently introduce new predators or competitors into the ecosystem, upsetting the balance of the food chain. And what about habitat destruction? Think about the impact we've had on land. With deforestation and urbanization, could we resist the temptation to build underwater cities, potentially destroying delicate coral reefs and seagrass beds? Lastly, our waste and pollution could have devastating effects. From plastic waste to chemical pollution, our presence could introduce new threats to an already vulnerable environment. So, while the prospect of breathing underwater is fascinating, we must remember our underwater adventure could have far-reaching consequences for marine life. So, would life be better if we could breathe underwater? Well, as we've seen, it's a complex question. Our evolutionary path would have been drastically different, our physiology would need some serious upgrades, and the ecological balance of our oceans would be in uncharted waters. The underwater world is a marvel, but it's also a challenging alien environment. It seems that for now we're better off sticking to dry land. What do you think about this deep dive into the world of underwater breathing? Let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this journey beneath the waves, why not give us a thumbs up? Don't keep this aquatic adventure to yourself. Share it with your friends. And if you're keen on diving into more thought-provoking content like this, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of the world and beyond.